What if the scariest people aren't in a movie, but in real-life case files that never got answers? Today we're looking at real stories across North America where the truth slipped through the cracks. These are cases with names, timelines, and evidence that went cold. Some suspects vanished, some leads dried up. All of them point to one thing: someone out there got away. He emptied his bank account, crossed countries in a hurry, and then was found steps from a hotel he never checked into. July 1996, Blair Adams, 31, leaves Surrey, British Columbia in visible distress. Over several days, he withdraws cash and valuables, tries to enter the US by ferry and is turned back, then makes it across the border, flies to Washington, D.C., and finally ends up in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hotel cameras capture him loitering in the lobby. He pays for a room with cash, walks out, and never uses the key. The next morning, he's found in the lot of an under-construction hotel across the interstate. Cash from 3 countries is scattered nearby. Investigators say his injuries point to a violent encounter, and the medical examiner lists a fatal injury as the cause. No robbery, no clear motive. A composite sketch is released of a man witnesses saw speaking with him outside a nearby restaurant, but nothing definitive follows. To this day, the timeline is crisp and the reason is foggy. Did Blair run from someone real or from a fear that spiraled as he crossed borders? The unanswered piece is the person he met in Knoxville that night. The case remains open. A bright orange fire lights up the water off Craig, Alaska, and with it a mystery that refuses to die. It is September 1982. The Investor, an $850,000 fishing boat, is seen burning near Craig. When responders reach the vessel, they find 8 people passed away on board. The owner and family were on that trip along with 4 crew members. The scene is devastating and confusing. Who set the boat ablaze? Who pulled the trigger before the fire? Witness accounts describe a suspicious person leaving the dock in a skiff that morning. A local man would eventually be put on trial and later acquitted. No one else has been convicted. There is no clear motive that ever stuck, and decades later, the official line from investigators is simple: the case is closed. The reality for locals is different. It remains the state's worst unsolved mass killing at sea and one of the most unsettling cold cases on the Pacific coast. Someone left that harbor and simply disappeared into the islands. A scientist writes 1 observation per minute. Then the pen goes quiet at 10 a.m. In September 1986, 28-year-old graduate researcher Jane Marie Pritchard drives to Blackbird State Forest in Delaware to study the hog peanut vine. She parks near the visitor center, steps into the trees with her gear, and does what she always does. She documents sunlight, leaf angle, and growth behavior. The entries roll in like clockwork. Then at 10 a.m., the notes end. Later that day, hikers spot her in the underbrush. A shotgun was used. Investigators quickly rule out a hunting accident and assemble a timeline built from interviews with squirrel hunters and other visitors. One man, Michael Lloyd, tells police he talked to Jane and saw her speaking with another man. His description leads to a composite sketch. Hair and fiber evidence is collected. Then technology catches up. Early DNA testing excludes Lloyd, and he is released after months in jail. The case moves to the cold case shelves, but not into oblivion. Detectives have said there is testable physical evidence still preserved. The path through the forest is short. The window of time is small. It is a solvable timeline if the right person speaks or if modern testing hits. A storm pounds Oahu and a missing license triggers a theory that changes the whole case. January 1982, Lisa Au, a 19-year-old beautician, leaves dinner with her boyfriend in Honolulu and drives towards Killao. It is a rough night on the roads. The next morning, she does not show. Her family sounds the alarm, and they eventually find her car with the driver's window down and pooled rainwater inside. Her purse is on the seat. Her license and registration are not in it. Weeks later, a jogger finds Lisa off a mountain road near Tantalus. Decomposition prevents a clear cause of death, and early theories point at a police impersonator because of the missing license. That angle burns bright until a simple fact surfaces. Lisa had used her license to write a check at a grocery store the evening she vanished and ended up leaving it there. Investigators look hard at the boyfriend. He cooperates and even takes lie detector tests, which he does not pass. He says guilt over not driving her home explains it. Witnesses recall a car on the mountain road around 2:30 a.m. with a man driving and a sleeping woman in the passenger seat. Later, the same car is seen again without the woman. That witness says no one followed up with her. The case stays open. The storm that night washed away more than footprints. It washed away a clear path to answers. Hours after a guilty verdict, a man writes a goodbye note and goes missing. On October 31st, 1990, a minor collision near a seaside park in Rhode Island sets off a chain of events that no one can take back. Adam C. Emery believes his car was struck. He and his wife confront another driver, Jason Bass, in a different vehicle. A confrontation escalates, Jason Bass is attacked, and he passes away. The legal fight is long. Emery turns down a plea deal and goes to trial. On October 10th, 1993, a jury finds him guilty of second-degree homicide. Formal sentencing has not happened yet, and he is allowed to remain free for the moment. That night, Emery and his wife leave notes, drive to Claiborne-Pell Newport Bridge, and then vanish. Their car is found. Years later, a skull identified as his wife's is recovered from the water, but Adam is never found. In 2004, a court declares him legally dead, but sightings keep popping up. Florida, then Europe. Investigators say there is reason to think he survived and may have support abroad. The case sits at a strange intersection of courtroom finality and real-world uncertainty. If he is alive, he is one of the most notorious, outstanding names from a New England case file. A friendly 19-year-old leaves a party, takes the path he always takes, but never makes it home. Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, August 28, 1999, Jason MacCullough says goodbye to friends after a late-night get-together and starts the short walk to his parents' place. He chooses the usual cut-through at Highfield Park, a paved path surrounded by homes and apartments. Locals hear a single shot, footsteps scatter, and Jason is found on the path about an hour later. There is no robbery, there is no clear motive, no grudge anyone can point to. Police interview hundreds of people, release multiple composite sketches of men seen in the area, and later pursue a woman who may have been a key witness. Tips arrive, then slow to a trickle. Over the years, a reward program highlights the case, the park is renamed in Jason's memory, and an annual walk against violence keeps his name in the news. Investigators believe there were people nearby that night who know exactly what happened. They also believe the right conversation could still break the case. Jason's story is the kind that sticks with a community. It also shows how silence can outlast a headline. Two German travelers accept a ride in British Columbia and vanish from the road. Early October 1983, Andrea Scherpf and Bernd Göricke, visiting from Germany, are hitchhiking in British Columbia. A driver in an older pickup stops. Days later, the couple is found by Highway 97 near the Pine River. Their belongings are missing. Someone uses Andrea's traveler's checks to buy fuel at stations moving south through the province. Years pass before a strong lead surfaces. A local man, Andy Rose, is accused after a woman claims he confessed. He is convicted, appealed, and is convicted again, and then science steps in. DNA testing on clothing from the case does not match Rose. In a third trial, he is acquitted after almost a decade behind bars. Another man, Vance Hill, is later discussed after statements from his ex-wife, but nothing definitive ties him to the crime. Hill passes away in 1985. This case is still the kind that makes hitchhikers keep looking over their shoulder. The stops where the checks were used trace a path that feels personal and taunting. Someone knew those roads well and stayed one town ahead of the law. All right, guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye.